touching it lightly. I really love how direct on mic triggers or like direct on mic cover triggers sound, so that's going to be in the video as well. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the thing about our wedding flowers is that even before the story I'm about to tell about like the actual disaster that ended up happening on our wedding day, even before that, we had issues from the very start with these flowers. I don't want to say where they're from because I still am planning on like reaching out to them again and like trying to see if they can make it right, and then if they don't, I'm gonna write like a review. But I don't want to like necessarily trash them yet without like giving them a chance to make it right. We decided we wanted to do dried flowers for a bunch of different reasons. First of all, we just like the vibe and the aesthetic of them. Like, we think they're really pretty, and we also had like kind of a fall themed wedding because our colors were like rust and terracotta and orange and like that family of colors, and it was in September, so we just felt like dried flowers would really go with that vibe and go with like the theme. So there was that, but then also when we started to get quotes and look into the florists in our area, they were so expensive. Like, multiple different florists that I looked into had minimums of like $3,000 or $3,500, and our goal for flowers was to spend under $1,000. Like, we were like, okay, we don't want to spend more than $1,000 on our flowers, was like our goal and our budget. So I was like, okay, well, I feel like if we just order some dried bouquets from like Etsy or something, it'll end up being cheap, and it'll be way cheaper than normal flowers, and they'll be like really pretty and they'll fit our vibe. So we were like super excited about it, and I started to do like a lot of research and like find different dried flower brands and different like Etsy sellers and whatever, and I like was saving a bunch on Etsy, and then eventually I found this brand. I don't want to say the name yet because I don't want to put them on blast, because like I want to give them an opportunity to fix it first. I'm gonna like reach out to them again because we already had issues, but I'm gonna reach out to them again about the wedding day issue and see if they'll like make it right. But if not, then I will put them on blast. But first I want to see if they'll, you know, make it right. So I find this brand, and like I did a lot of research. Like, I checked their Instagram, I looked at all their reviews, I like really did my due diligence, and I was like, okay, they are legit. It's like a girl like my age who owns it. It's based in the UK. So I was like, okay, she seems cool. And like on Instagram I would look at like their tagged photos, and there was a lot of people who like would tag them in their pictures, and their flowers looked really pretty. And on their website they say that they ship internationally, and I noticed in some of the tagged photos that some of the people who tagged the photos didn't live in the UK. So I was like, okay, cool, they can like ship internationally, that won't be a problem. And the pricing was fine. Like, I thought it was a pretty decent price. So this is where it starts to turn for the worse. So I decided to test out like 3 different bouquets so we could see in person and decide which one we want and which one we thought was the most pretty. So I ordered 3 different bouquets, like 3 different styles, and I ordered 2 mediums and 1 large, I think, because I also wanted to see the difference in like sizing. So we get these 3 bouquets. This is like maybe 6 months before the wedding. And we're like, okay, cool. We like decided which one we liked the best. And then based on the sizes that I bought, I was like, okay, well these mediums are big. So like I'm gonna get all the bridesmaids mediums, and then I'm gonna get myself a large. So like mine will be a little bit bigger, but theirs will also be pretty big because the bouquets that we got, like those were mediums. So we were like, okay, cool, these are huge. Like these are a good size. So like this whole first part of this story isn't even the like disaster part. I just want to like put that out there because like it gets worse. So I then placed my entire order. So we spent $900 because we bought 10 bouquets for all the bridesmaids, and then 1 bouquet for me, and then I bought I bought 3 extra bouquets just in case, and then we got boutonnieres, and then I bought a couple different like hairpins with like dried flowers on them, and then we got a couple corsages for the moms. So all in all, the order was $900, and we were super excited about it, and I placed the order. It really didn't take that long for them to come, which I was really happy about. So I think like 3 or 4 months before the wedding was when they arrived. I want to say it was 3 months, but it might have been 4. So we had them secured. We were so excited. We opened up. First of all, the box came absolutely destroyed. Like, we were like, oh my god, we thought everything in there was going to be like disintegrated into little pieces because the box was absolutely destroyed. It was barely holding together. Like, what the hell? Wouldn't one of the delivery services like add some extra tape when they see a box like that? It was bizarre. Like, it was literally destroyed, and it came from the UK, so we're like, okay, it's in horrible condition. Like, clearly it didn't do well with the international shipping. So we open it and we start taking them out, and coincidentally my mom was visiting that weekend. So it was me, my now husband, then fiance, and my mom. We started taking the bouquets out, and I'm like, why are these so small? And we're all like, what the fuck? And we're taking them out, and they are so small. And I'm like, oh my god, they sent us the wrong sizes. This is crazy. Like, they fucked up. Like, oh no. And my mom's like, it's okay. It'll be okay. You'll contact them. They'll send you the right sizes. Like, it'll all be okay. So I like get the packing slip out, and I'm reading the packing slip, and I'm like, wait, this packing slip says that this is 10 mediums and 4 larges, because I did the 10 mediums, the 3 extra larges for just to have extra, and then the 1 large for me. And so I'm like reading the packing slip, and I'm like, this says 10 mediums and 4 larges, plus like all the other stuff like the boutonnieres and corsages and hairpins. And I'm like, what? Like, clearly they didn't mess up, because this is saying that this is what's in the box. And so we literally like got all of them out. We set them up in little cups, and then I brought over the 3 original bouquets that I had ordered as like testers months before, when we were like trying to see what type of bouquet we wanted, like what style. And again, 2 of those were mediums and 1 was a large, but we didn't pick the one that was the large. So like the one that we picked, the style that we picked with the colors and the arrangement and all of that we wanted, was a medium in that original order. We held it up next to all of the new bouquets. It was bigger than all of the mediums, and it was even bigger than the larges. sizing was. Like, we based our whole wedding order off of that original medium they sent me, and it was completely wrong. So I type up an email and I tell them what happened. I'm like, you know, hey, blah blah blah, I ordered these original bouquets and then we based our whole wedding order off of that, and they are way smaller than the original ones that we received. They respond back immediately, horrible customer service, like immediately, never said sorry. Literally, they were like, can you take pictures with like a measuring tape, because the original stylist that did your original bouquet might have been feeling generous that day. That was literally their fucking response. Like, I spent $900, these are my wedding flowers, and they market themselves as bridal bouquets, wedding flowers, so like, these are my wedding flowers. I'm telling you that the order you sent me is very wrong, and all you say is send us pictures. They might have been feeling generous in your original one. Fuck you. So that really pissed me off, because that's just horrible customer service. So we take all the pictures and we like use the measuring tape. The pictures are so insane to even look at, because literally the original medium is way bigger than the mediums they sent us and the larges. So it's like, in no world are these even remotely close. Like, the lack of quality control is just astonishing to me. So anyways, I send the pictures and I'm like, as you can see, they are way smaller than the original one that I received, and that's the one that we based our whole order off of. Also, in between the time that I placed the original like 3 bouquets to see which one we wanted, and the time that I placed our wedding order, the prices went up by like 20%, so they were already more expensive. So we literally paid more and got smaller bouquets. So another thing to note is, if you watched my wedding theme video that I have like on my page or on my channel, you can see what the flowers looked like they're dried flowers. So naturally, some of them are a little longer, some of them are shorter, like some of them stick out a little bit. But like, any reasonable adult that's like spending a lot of money with a company or a brand would look at that and see the size difference that we received and be like, yeah, that's not right, that's really, really fucked up. They had the audacity to say that what they sent me was within the size guide on the website, and that the original stylist was feeling generous, and that the original medium that I got was actually more like an extra large, and the ones that I received are actually true to the size guide on the website. I was like, there is so much wrong with that response. First of all, you're putting it on your customer, me, to double check and measure the original bouquet that you sent me to make sure that they weren't just feeling generous. Like, what the fuck? In what world would I like get an item and then be like, oh, I better go double check on the website to make sure it's the actual size that they promise, because maybe this is actually way bigger than a real medium, and then when I order them they're gonna be small. Who in the world would think that and do that? Like, I ordered a medium, you sent me a medium, and I went, oh great, the medium is a good size, and so I ordered 10 more mediums. Why would I sit there and measure? So that really, really upset me, because I was like, what? Like, that's not my fault that that person was feeling generous and then they fucked up. Like, what I then went and ordered, because I thought a medium was going to be big, and it actually was like tiny. Also, I just disagreed with them saying that it fell in the size guide, because basically what they did is they looked at like the longest little string of dried flower, and then they were like, oh well look, that hits this many centimeters or whatever. And it's like, let's be reasonable adults. Why would we measure the one little sprig that's like sticking out? Let's be reasonable and measure like where most of them end. You know what I mean? Like, it just, the whole thing was so wrong and rubbed us like such the wrong way. We were so pissed off, and the customer service was so bad. They never apologized. They never like took accountability. They just were like, that stylist was feeling generous, and then basically just denied and said that it was up to me to check the size guide. So it was horrible, a horrible experience, like right off the bat. And then I was like, you need, like, can you send me bigger bouquets? Like, these are for my wedding. And also in the original bouquets that they sent, the stems were really long, so they were like really pretty, and there was like a lot to hold on to. In the bouquets that they sent in my big large order for my wedding, they cut the stems so short. They were so stubby, you couldn't even grab them with two hands. You could only grab them like this. So literally I was like, there's not even any stem to grab onto, like the original ones we bought that we thought were so beautiful. Whoever made the bigger batch that I ordered cut them so short, there's nothing even to grab onto. Like, these are wedding bouquets. So they were like, no, we can't send you any more bouquets, but we can send you some loose stems. So we were like, okay. So they sent us like loose stems, like extras of all the flowers that like they used in that arrangement. They just sent like a couple extras of them, and we were like, okay, cool, like, thanks, but what? That like didn't fix the problem. So that was the size issue. And then, you know, I was like really mad just because like the principle of it, like, that just makes me so mad. Not even like I could get over the size of the flowers, but the fact that that company did that, it didn't take accountability, didn't say sorry, didn't give a shit, didn't fix it. I was like, I felt scammed. Like, we felt scammed. So we filed a credit card claim of saying like the product was not what we ordered, like the product was wrong, and the company went back and like denied it. And so then the credit card company came back to us and was like, the company denied it. If you want to continue like pursuing the claim, you'll have to submit like more proof and more paperwork. And I was like, what the fuck else could I provide other than what I already provided? Like, I already explained the situation. And at this point, we were just like trying to move past it. We just like really wanted to be excited and positive about the wedding, and the flower thing was stressing me out so much. It was like really upsetting me. So me and my husband just decided together, we're like, let's just not even fight it anymore, whatever. We won't get the money back, but like, who cares? They're still beautiful. They look beautiful. They're just really small, but who cares? We'll make it work. So we decided not to continue pursuing the credit card claim. So at this point, we have decided to move on from the credit card claim and just accept the sizes for what they are. Then we start to notice that we are having a moth problem. So we were keeping them actually in this room, just like back over there where you can't see from the camera. And we were noticing that there were a lot of moths like in the room and in like near the flowers. So then of course we started looking it up, and I'm like, oh no, I think that the flowers are attracting moths because moths like dried flowers. So we're like, okay, well that's weird. We've never had a moth problem like X-Acto knifed out the top of the bin, like the plastic part. We bought screen door material, like screening, and he like epoxied on the screen door material onto where he cut out the plastic so that we could put the flowers in these bins and they'd be sealed, but there'd still be airflow, because like we were reading that dried flowers need airflow because otherwise they'll wilt, but they can't be in direct sunlight. But then because of the moths, we were like, okay, we need to like protect them. So he literally made these homemade breathable flower bins, and that's where we kept the flowers. But we were still noticing that there were moths in the bins, so we were like, how the hell are they getting in? Like, these are closed bins, like that's so weird. So then he got tape, and he taped every edge, every nook and cranny that he thought a moth could get in, he taped shut, okay? So these bins are like sealed. We still were noticing moths inside, so every day we were having to untape the thing, kill the moths. Like, it was crazy. It literally was like ruining our lives. Not really, that was dramatic, but it was very annoying. This went on for weeks and weeks, actually months. We were like having to undo the boxes, kill the moths, tape them back up. It was a huge pain, and it was like really stressing me out, honestly, and like giving me a lot of anxiety, because I was like, what are we doing wrong? Like, we're doing everything right, I don't understand. And my mom was like, I think that the moths are reproducing in the bins. Like, I think they're in there and they're like laying eggs and reproducing. And me and my husband were like, we don't think so. Like, we don't think that's happening. And my mom was like, I don't know. I think that's what's happening. Like, I think they're in there and they're like reproducing. And we were like, no, we don't think so. And so we like continue on this way, like trying to keep these bins clean, like as much as we possibly can, but it was very hard. And then I made the video that was like about our wedding theme, and so I got one of the flower bouquets out for that. And I noticed on the ribbon when I made that video, there was like black specks. And I showed my husband and I was like, is this poop? Like, is this moth poop? Like, what is this on the ribbon? And he was like, no, it's not. He was totally just like avoiding it because it was already so stressful, just the flowers. Since the day we got them, it was nothing but stress. And so I think he was just like, he didn't want to fuel my anxiety, and I think he just thought if he ignored it, then it wasn't real. So he was like, no, it's fine. And at this point, we're weeks out from the wedding, so literally both of us were like, okay, it's weeks away. It's so close. Like, let's just keep killing the moths and these flowers. Like, it'll be fine. Whatever. We're still thinking that the moths are somehow crawling in the bins and like getting in there. So we're reaching the real meaty part of the story now. So we have our rehearsal and our rehearsal dinner. It's amazing. It's super fun. We go out for drinks after with like everyone who was coming into town, and it was so fun. My sister, who is my matron of honor, and her husband stayed at our house the night of the rehearsal dinner. So me, my husband, my sister, and her husband came back to our house. We left the drinks early on purpose. We left at 10:30, and we were like, okay, we need to go to bed. We need to like get sleep tonight. Like, tomorrow's the wedding. And me and my husband decided to sleep together the night before so that we could like wake up together and like say our private vows in the morning before the wedding and then separate. So the four of us come back, we like all get ready for bed, and then I'm like, you know what, I want to like set the flowers out for tomorrow, like so that they're ready. And my husband was like, why, we could just do it in the morning. And I was like, no, trust me, it's gonna be so busy the second we wake up tomorrow, like we're gonna be go go go. I really want to get them out. So he's like, okay, fine. So we untape the boxes. We take off the lids. And we start to lift out the bouquets. And our thinking was we were just gonna like place them all on the kitchen table, like in cups to stand them up, because that's how they were in the bins. They were standing in cups so that they would like stand up straight as like little holders like in the bin. So we start lifting them out, and we're like, that's weird, there's like stuff on them. We start to realize that they are fully infested with moths, moth larvae, and moth poop. And moth larva is basically maggots, because it's the little worm that the moth is before it becomes a moth. So, like, if you can imagine, it's like really late. It's like 11:30, maybe 12. We're like really all ready for bed. Our wedding is the next day. The bridesmaids and me had to start getting ready at 7 a.m. So we had a really early morning. Like the next day we were like, we had to wake up early. And the four of us start to realize that the bouquets are infested. So I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. They're literally infested. Oh my god. And then we start lifting them all out. And it's like getting worse and worse as we take them out. It's so disgusting, but like literally there were like moths, and then you could see like webs and like moth poop everywhere, and in the bottom of the cups when we would like lift them out, it was covered in moth poop. And they were covering the ribbons on the bouquets, and I'm like freaking the fuck out, and I'm like, oh my god, we can't use these, this is disgusting. And my sister was like on my side, like my sister was like, yeah, this is nasty. So my husband and my brother-in-law like jump into action, and they're like, don't worry, we can clean them, we'll clean them. So we start getting all the bouquets to the sink, and they put the water on all the way hot. It was like scorching hot water. And me and my sister are like, oh my god, what do we do? And they start cleaning the bouquets out, like, because the top part is like the flowers, and then there's like the ribbon, and then the stem. They were all in the stems, you could like see. So the guys like start holding the stems under the scorching sink water to try to like kill them or like get it out. But like me and my sister were like stepped back a little bit in the kitchen, because we were like, what do we do? Trying to think of like do we use them? Do we not? And all of a sudden the guys are silent, and we're like, what? And they're like looking at each other, and I'm like, oh my god, it's bad, isn't it? And my fiance just looks at me and he goes, it's really bad. And I was like, oh no. Because for him to look at me at midnight the night before our wedding and tell me that the status of the bouquets are really bad, that means that it's really, really bad. Because like normally he wouldn't, like he would try to like be chill, or he would try to like not make me worry, you know. But no, he was like, it's bad. And then my brother, like, you could just see the way they were looking at each other. But me and my sister were so grossed out and disgusted that we like didn't wanna like step any closer, because it was like grossing us out. So they're like, basically they're just like scorching them with hot water and trying to, with paper towel, like pick everything out and like clean the bouquets, but it like wasn't working, obviously. So they start like scorching them and then setting them out like in their cups, like, because we're just like trying to desperately figure out what to do. And then me and my sister start looking closer, and because of the scorching hot water that they were putting on the stems, like literally getting the shivers, the larvae were like trying to escape the heat, so they started like crawling out of the flowers. This is like literally a fucked up movie, like this is like a scary movie. So all of a sudden we see these fucking maggot worms like suspending out of the flowers on their little silk strings and like crawling out of the flowers, and we were like, oh my god, like, no, it's over, we're not using these, we're not doing it. Like, me and my sister went back and forth. We were like, is it like, should we not, should we use them, should we not, should we use them? And then my brother-in-law was like, well, you guys could just hold them for like 10 minutes during photos and then throw them away. But we were like, realistically, photos take like an hour. Like, it's not gonna be just 10 minutes, it's gonna be like, everyone has to hold them, and then we're all on the party bus driving to the photo location, and they're like all on the bus with us. So then we're all gonna be like holding and touching these moth infested flowers, and then like touching our faces and like touching like food. Like, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. So finally, like, we were going back and forth, and then I was just like, I'm calling it, we're not using the bouquets, we're not using the bouquets. And I like looked at my sister and I was like, is that what you think, do you agree? And she was like, yeah, I'm so sorry, but I agree, like, I don't think we should use them. But she like didn't want to say that before. She was like waiting for me to kind of like come to that conclusion. And I was like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Because then everyone starts brainstorming, like, okay, well, how are we gonna get flowers? Like, the wedding is literally tomorrow. So my brother-in-law and husband are like, well, what if we drive to like Trader Joe's in the morning? Or what if we drive to Hobby Lobby? Or like, they're like thinking of all these things. And I'm like, honestly, let's just use the dried baby's breath that's the centerpieces to all the tables. Let's just hold that. Because in a completely separate, unrelated order from Amazon, we ordered dried baby's breath, like these sprigs of dried baby's breath that were really pretty, and we were gonna use them as the centerpieces. So like, we got these little like amber vases, and we put the baby's breath in those, and we had them all like packed and ready at the venue already, because we were trying to be prepared. So we like did that ahead of time, and we had it ready at the venue. So I was like, okay, in the morning, you two, my husband and brother-in-law, like, you guys go get the baby's breath from the venue. Like, she'll let you in, go just lift them all out of the vases, bring them here, and that's what we're gonna hold. Like, that's what we're gonna use. And then when we get back to the venue, we'll put them all back in the vases and use them as decoration. Also, for this story to come full circle, the original medium-sized bouquet that was actually big that we ordered, and the one that was like we based our whole order off of, that one never got infested because I kept it in a separate room, because I didn't think we were going to use it. So I was like, oh, it's just pretty. So we like had it in a vase in a completely different room, so it never got infected. So I'm like, this is perfect. I'll use the original bouquet that has all the color. Like, it has like terracotta, rust, like cream. It was like this beautiful like orange fall bouquet. I'll use that one, and all the bridesmaids will just hold the dried baby's breath. So like, I'll still have like the pretty like orange bouquet, but everyone else will just have have baby's breath, but it'll work out because everyone else has like bright orange, like brightly colored dresses, and I'm in white. So like, it'll be fine. Let's just do that. So they were like, okay, got it. So the next morning, well, first of all, we were up till like 2 a.m. So we got like no sleep because the whole flower fiasco had us up so late. So that really sucked because like our whole thing that night was like, let's go to bed early, let's get sleep. And then we ended up getting literally 4 hours of sleep. So we wake up in the morning and we couldn't even like have the slow like vows over coffee morning that we originally planned, because basically right when we woke up the guys had to go leave and get the flowers. So that also kind of sucked because it like ruined kind of like our plan for the morning, but whatever. So, and also during this, like, we were freaking out, but we were also like laughing. So we were like we would just start like cracking up randomly because we were like, how the hell is this real? Like, how is this happening? So that was the good thing, is like I wasn't crying, I wasn't like throwing a hissy fit or anything. Like, I was pissed just because we already had such problems with this company and like with the flowers, and we got through that and we got past it. So then for literally the day of our fucking wedding, for them not to work and to not be good, I was just like so pissed at the company. But I was like able to laugh about it, and I was like, fuck it, I think baby's breath is really pretty anyways, so like it'll still look beautiful, it'll be fine. So that morning, the morning of the wedding, we like woke up and the guys just right away went and got the baby's breath. The night before, we put all the flowers in the bin outside. I was like, I never want that fucking bin in our house ever again. So yeah, and then we had our wedding, so we couldn't use any of the flowers from our $900 order. Actually, we used the boutonnieres and the corsages because they were in a different bin that didn't get infested. Only the bin with the bouquets was infested. The other bin that had the boutonnieres, the corsages, and the hairpins, that bin was never bad. So we were able to use the boutonnieres, the corsages, and I used some baby's breath in my hair. But yeah, we couldn't use any of the bouquets except for the original one that I ordered as a tester because I had it in a different room the whole time. So, yeah, and then also we realized that we forgot to take pictures while it was happening because it was like we were in like fight or flight, like it was an emergency. It was the night before the wedding. We weren't thinking. So then the next day we were like, well shit, we should take pictures because we want this brand to believe us. Like, we don't want them to think that they said no to the size complaint, so then now we're coming back and we're lying and saying that there were bugs, you know? Like, we were like, we want proof. So then the next day my husband took a bunch of photos, so we eventually got that proof. But it ended up working out really great because I love how the baby's breath ended up looking. We got some sneak photos back like right away, like the day after the wedding. Our photographer sent us some sneaks, and the flowers look so pretty, just the baby's breath that all the bridesmaids are holding, because all of their dresses were like mismatched, like rust, terracotta, paprika, cedar, like they had all different colored dresses, so there was already a lot going on. So them then having just like the neutral colors, like dried baby's breath, and then me, I was the opposite. My dress was white with tan underneath, so it was kind of cream, and then I had the colorful bouquet. So like it was like opposite, like they had the neutral bouquet, I had the neutral dress, and they had the colorful dresses and I had the colorful bouquet. So it looked really, really pretty, and we loved get through it. It'll be fine. And yeah, like I said, it ended up looking really pretty. But how fucked up is that? Like, it makes me so mad because of the bullshit we already went through with this company, and then for this to happen, like, we could not use our wedding flowers. They were trash. They were infested with bugs and maggots and poop, and we had to throw them away, and we couldn't even use them on our wedding day. Also, I'm just like, thank God we decided to pull them out the night before and we didn't wait until the morning of the wedding. That would have been so much worse if we were like getting ready to go and then decided to pull them out and then we realized that they were infested as we're like about to go. That would have been horrible. Luckily, it was the night before, so we were able to like catch it and fix it before it was too late. But we are also grateful that that was the only like real fiasco. That was the only thing that was like a disaster at the wedding. Everything else went very, very well, and we had like the best day and night of our lives. So I'm gonna do another whisper ramble like in a little bit, maybe like a couple days or something, to just like talk about the wedding and how it was and just ramble about that. But I hope that you enjoyed this story about our disastrous wedding flowers, and I hope that it never happens to you. So I hope that you have a great night, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you again next time.